Welcome to AP Biology, and today we officially begin metabolism.
All right.
Let's get the show on the road.
All right. So this chapter, all right, it's the first chapter in Unit 3. Right? And Unit 3 is made up of 3 separate chapters. And our first chapter is one of my favorite chapters because it is, like I said, our next step in understanding nutrition. So what we are looking at here is what happens inside of our body once we consume food. We've already learned what food is, right? Food is composed of macromolecules. Mike, give me one kind of macromolecule. A carbohydrate. I saw the look on your eyes, the panic. Carbohydrate. Aiden, give me another macromolecule. A lipid. Good. Brock, give me another macromolecule. The most important of macromolecules. Proteins. And the last one is nucleic acids, right? This is what food is made up of. Food is made up of carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, nucleic acids. And that is what you consume when you consume food. And we've learned about them. We've learned about their polymers. We've learned about their monomers, right? What is the monomer of a carbohydrate called? Monosaccharide. Saved us. Monosaccharide. What is the monomer of a protein called? An amino acid. What is the monomer of a lipid? Fatty acid. Monomer of a nucleic acid? Nucleotide. Right? Nucleotide. So, this chapter is going to really focus on what happens inside of our bodies once we have consumed food, once we have consumed these 4 major macromolecules. I've said this before, I'll say it again. You need to look at your body as a giant vat of chemical reactions. That is all that is happening inside of you. Every single event that occurs is a chemical reaction. Thinking is a chemical reaction. Digesting food is a chemical reaction. Muscles contracting is a chemical reaction. Right? Movement is a chemical reaction. Every single event that occurs within your body is a chemical reaction. Now, when we put all of those chemical reactions together, when we look at the totality of all of the chemical reactions that compose you, we call this your metabolism. We've all used the word metabolism. Some of you might have said, I have a fast metabolism, I have a slow metabolism. But almost nobody really understands what their metabolism is and what it actually means to have a fast metabolism, what it actually means to have a slow metabolism. Right? You will understand this by the end of this chapter. Right? But your metabolism is all of the chemical reactions that are taking place inside of your body all the time. And if we look at all the chemical reactions within your metabolism, these reactions take place within what we call metabolic pathways. A metabolic pathway is like a road in your body. It's a road that is made up of multiple chemical reactions. So a metabolic pathway is composed of multiple chemical reactions that are linked together. Every chemical reaction that occurs inside of your body requires an enzyme. It's an important thing for you to understand. So if you look at the board real quick, here's a good example of a metabolic pathway. So just take a moment, look at the board, and try to understand this. So you look at this metabolic pathway. It begins with A. It ends with D. Right? A is the starting molecule. D is the product of this metabolic pathway. This metabolic pathway is made up of how many chemical reactions? 3 of them, right? So it's made up of 3 chemical reactions that are linked together. Since you have 3 chemical reactions, how many enzymes do you need within this metabolic pathway? 3, right? So you have 3 reactions, therefore you need 3 different enzymes, right? Every chemical reaction occurring within your body requires an enzyme to run that chemical reaction, right? And we're going to be learning about what these enzymes do specifically in the future. But enzymes are the most important proteins within your body, right? Because you need an enzyme to run every single chemical reaction. Now, when we look at metabolic pathways, these pathways fit into 2 different categories. You have catabolic pathways and you have anabolic pathways. And this is what we were just talking about with our question. Catabolic pathways break things down and release energy. Catabolic pathways break things down and release energy. If catabolic pathways break things down and release energy, what chemical reaction is used during a catabolic pathway? Hydrolysis. You break things down through hydrolysis, right? I can think of 2 major catabolic pathways in the body. Number 1, when you consume food, what's the first thing that you do to that food within your digestive tract? You digest it, you break it down, right? Most people don't really understand how digestion works. Many people think that digestion is physical, that your stomach physically breaks down your food. It's not true. Most digestion happens in your intestines, and it happens through the action of enzymes in your intestines. And what chemical reaction do you think those enzymes are performing in your digestive tract? Hydrolysis. So in your intestines, you have enzymes called proteases. What do you think proteases break down? Proteins. You have lipases. What do you think lipases break down? Lipids. You have enzymes called amylases. Break down carbohydrates. And they break down these macromolecules, again, through what chemical reaction? Hydrolysis. So the act of digesting your food is a catabolic pathway, right? Because you're breaking things down. Now, the major catabolic pathway in your body, numero uno, is cellular respiration, which is our second chapter, right? Because cell respiration is truly how our food, how our body, our cells break down food and extract energy out of the food. The energy extracted out of our food is then used to make what energy molecule inside of our body? ATP. This is the way I think of it. This is kind of like my roadmap of catabolism. All right? So you consume food. And when you consume food, you're consuming macromolecules, right? So really what we're mostly consuming are going to be polymers, right? Because you're consuming proteins, polysaccharides, triglycerides, nucleic acids, right? You're consuming polymers when you eat food, right? So when you digest your food, you're breaking the polymers down through hydrolysis, and you're breaking the polymers down into what? Go ahead, Brock. Into monomers. That is what's happening in your digestive system. Proteins are being broken down into amino acids. Polysaccharides are being broken down into monosaccharides. Nucleic acids are being broken down into nucleotides. Triglycerides are being broken down into fatty acids and glycerol, right? And then those monomers get absorbed into your bloodstream. And then from your bloodstream, they enter your body cells. Does that make sense? And it's actually your liver that controls where they all go. Where do you think is the most important place to get sugar? What two spots in your body do you think are most important to get sugar to? Your brain, your heart, right? And your liver controls where it all goes, right? So those monomers travel through your bloodstream and they go into your body cells. And once they're in your body cells, now those monomers are going to enter cell respiration. And guess what? What chemical reaction do you think is happening during cell respiration? Keep in mind, you're still breaking things down. Hydrolysis. Cell respiration is more hydrolysis. Now I'll ask you a really hard question. When you break apart monomers, especially monomers like glucose, through cell respiration, what is left when you break them apart? Well, carbon dioxide and water. That's typically what's left over. And what do you do to these end products? What do you do with the carbon dioxide and the water that are being produced at the end? You exhale. When you breathe out, when you exhale, you're releasing carbon dioxide and water. I always think it's kind of weird. People don't really understand this. When you eat food, food goes into your body as food. Then food leaves your body as what? As carbon dioxide and water. Isn't that weird? When you're breathing out right now, you're breathing out the end products after you've pulled all the what out of your food. Yeah, all the energy, really. You've sucked all the energy out of your food, and what's left over is carbon dioxide and water, and you exhale it as a gas, as a waste product. Make sense to you? But if you look at these, bam, bam, these are your major catabolic pathways. Catabolic pathways break things down to release energy. Break things down to release energy. And the energy that's released is used to make ATP. Bless you. What do you guys think? That makes a lot of sense to me. All right? The other major pathway in your body is an anabolic pathway. Anabolic pathways do the opposite. Anabolic pathways consume energy in order to build something. Right? They consume energy to build something. So I'm going to take my little pathway. I should have planned it out a little bit better. And I'm going to draw a fork in the road. Because when you eat food, no matter what, your food gets digested, right? And those monomers are going to enter your body cells. And when monomers enter your body cells, they could be used for two things. One, they can go in cell respiration, right? Or two, they go into what's called biosynthesis. Like we said earlier, you are what you eat. So these monomers can enter anabolic pathways that are used to build things within your cells. Build muscle proteins. Build glycogen, like Sean said before, to store energy, right? To build body fat. Build muscle. Growth. Repair. These are all anabolic pathways. So if we take all of our anabolic pathways and all of our catabolic pathways and we put them all together, what do we call that? Your metabolism. Right? Your metabolism is all of your anabolic and catabolic pathways put together. Now, if you're studying energy usage, if you're studying metabolism, we call this bioenergetics. Right? Bioenergetics is the study of metabolic pathways, how we use energy. I like to take a day and talk about exercise and nutrition, right? Because it's all about bioenergetics. Think about what it means to be fit. To me, what it means to be fit is when you consume food, you use all of your food to do stuff, right? You use all of your food to make ATP or to build and repair, right? Somebody who has a slow metabolism, somebody who is not fit, instead of using all of their food, what do they tend to do to it? They store it, right? To me, that's what it means to be fit. It means to be efficient. And if you are efficient, then you convert all of your food into usable stuff to make energy or to build and repair, right? If you were to look at what I eat in a day, I eat enough calories where I should be 400 pounds, right? But you can train your body to be more efficient, to use your food to do the things that you want it to do and not to store your food as things like body fat, right? That's why this chapter is so important. So if we look at anabolic pathways and catabolic pathways, and we look at the chemical reactions that compose them, there are two types of chemical reactions. The first type is called an exergonic reaction. Now take a second and look at this diagram on the board. If you look at an exergonic reaction, you have high energy reactants being broken down into low energy products. So you're breaking something apart. So if you are breaking something apart, are you consuming energy or are you releasing energy? You're releasing energy. So exergonic reactions that have high energy reactants being broken down into low energy products, they are going to be releasing energy. So exergonic reactions are found in what type of metabolic pathway? Anabolic or catabolic pathways? Go ahead, Troy. Catabolic. Right? Exergonic reactions are found within catabolic pathways. Does that make sense to all of you? Now, an endergonic reaction is the opposite. So you have low energy reactants being built up into high energy products. So now you're going uphill. And in order to go uphill, are you consuming energy or are you releasing energy? You're consuming energy. So endergonic reactions are found in what type of pathway? An anabolic pathway. Now I have a tricky question that students struggle with every year. What is the difference between a catabolic pathway and an exergonic reaction? Go ahead, Joe.
Endergonic absorbs into?
No. Catabolic pathway and exergonic reaction. What is the difference?
Call somebody else. I don't know the answer.
What's the difference between a catabolic pathway and an exergonic reaction? Sean, what do you got for me? Exergonic.
I can't say it.
That's okay. I can't speak either.
It's not exclusive with metabolic.
You're on the right path. Somebody help out Sean. You're definitely there. Difference between a catabolic pathway and an exergonic reaction. Go ahead, Aaron.
Catabolic pathway need enzyme.
Exergonic reactions also need enzymes. Aaron.
Is like an exergonic reaction just like a one-time thing or a pathway because it's
Yes. Catabolic pathways, listen to this, are made up of multiple exergonic reactions put together. Remember the difference between a pathway and a reaction. A catabolic pathway is made up of multiple chemical reactions. Do we all see that? So if you're looking at a catabolic pathway, it's made up of multiple exergonic reactions that are linked together. Does that make sense to all of you? Tessa, what is the difference between an endergonic reaction and an anabolic pathway?
an endergonic reaction absorbs an anabolic pathway. I don't know. Same.
Katie, help her out.
Is it like the same thing?
It's the same thing, so say the same thing.
Oh, say the same thing?
Yeah.
Reaction is just like one part of it, and anabolic pathway is like the same part.
Yes. So anabolic pathways are made up of multiple what? Endergonic reactions, right? An anabolic pathway is composed of multiple endergonic reactions all linked together. Are we okay with this? We'll review this tomorrow. I'm going to stop the video. I want to go over one thing with you guys.